This is the Ohio AgNet from the Voice You Know at the News You Trust studio, sponsored by BASF. Visit with your local ag retailer about 0% financing on all BASF crop protection, seed treatment, and Zetavo brand soybeans, now through March 15th. I'm Ty Higgins. Powered by soy biodiesel, on Monday, join the Ohio AgNet as we get an update from the Ohio Corn and Wheat Growers Association about the great work being done to represent Ohio's grain farmers at the state and national levels. I was in Anaheim, California earlier this week for the American Farm Bureau Convention. On the delegate floor, policy was made to help the organization get some things done for agriculture and farmers in 2026. Jack Irvin is Vice President of Public Policy for Ohio Farm Bureau. He talks about why a farmer in rural Ohio should care about what happened in Anaheim earlier this week through the American Farm Bureau Federation.
There's not a very big community in agriculture, if we're really honest about it. You look at the data, 2% of the population. I like to say we're actually probably realistically like more 1% of the population. If we are not working together, it's going to be a long road for us if we're not just collaborating and together. So we need all 50 states, and that's why it's important to be here.
You know, when you bring all 50 states into a room, though, there are some differences in not just opinion, but in agriculture and the challenges that come along with it, but also some similarities. What did we find out on the floor today from delegates from all 50 states and Puerto Rico that Ohioans can relate to?
So there's no secret that there's a lot of similarities. So we were talking about labor issues. You're talking about market issues. Those are some of the key topics that came up a lot today. Whether it was H2A reform or focusing on bioproducts, biofuels, specifically year-round E15, and just trying to have those markets, trying to have those opportunities to sell our products either domestically or abroad, and not rely on, kind of those government programs and different things to drive revenue from the markets. That came up a lot this week. And certainly I hear that a lot in Ohio, and certainly here nationally as well.
What will you do with this information? This is obviously a grassroots effort. These started at county level farm bureaus across the country. And now I guess we could say you have marching orders there for you and your team in Ohio to start getting to work in Washington, D.C.
Yeah, so E15 is a great example. We have been working in that space, but it just, again, reinvigorated to pursue with Ohio's congressional delegation, the administration at the federal level, and see if we can get something done. So, just a couple weeks ago, for example, we were able to move forward some legislation allowing and opening up schools to whole milk again. Should be great for American agriculture, great for our students, great for our schools, and that was something that at one point was a policy. So, just taking those policies and moving them forward and trying to bring them to fruition.
You can follow our coverage on our website, ohioagnet.com, but also with plenty of videos and other content we got here from Anaheim, California throughout the week. You can find that on our Facebook page and also on our YouTube channel as well. Jack Irvin, Vice President of Public Policy with Ohio Farm Bureau. Appreciate your time.
Thank you very much.
Let's get a check of the forecast, brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance, online at seedconsultants.com. Here's Ryan Martin.
After a relatively boring Thursday, we are going to be seeing an active weekend here. Today, tomorrow, Sunday, we have a little bit of low pressure moving into the Great Lakes and plenty of action rotating around it. On again, off again, light snow. I want to emphasize the light. I don't think there's a huge amount of lake enhancement outside of extreme northeastern parts of Ohio, but I think we see nuisance snows off and on for today, tomorrow, and Sunday. Throw Monday in there as well. I think we end up with a fresh coating to an inch in most places. Could be slightly higher totals farther north. We take a break and actually get high pressure in here next Tuesday into early Wednesday. Moisture coming back the later part of the week. Snow in the north and maybe some rain down south. That'll be fun. Big potential system for the week of the 26th. I'm meteorologist Ryan Martin.
Ryan, thank you. Let's get an update on Ohio property tax reforms. With that, here's Joe Everett.
Ohio lawmakers passed 4 property tax relief bills, but their main impact will not be lowering today's tax bills. It will shape how property taxes grow in the future and how local governments are funded. Ohio already ranks high in property taxes, even though overall taxes are average because income and sales taxes are lower. Property tax mainly fund local services, especially schools. A key issue dates back to 1976 law that limited tax increases when home values rise, except in districts at the 20 mil floor, where taxes automatically rise with property values. About 3/4 of Ohio school districts, mostly in rural areas, are at this floor. The new reforms cap property tax growth at inflation statewide, removing the automatic revenue growth for rural districts. While this benefits homeowners, especially in rural areas, it creates future budget pressure for schools and local governments. To cope, communities may cut services, raise local taxes with voter approval, or rely more on state funding. Ultimately, the reform forces Ohio to confront a trade-off, tax relief versus long-term funding for public services and schools. To learn more, you can find this full article today at ohioagnet.com. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Joe Everett reporting.
Joe, thank you. Back after this as the Ohio AgNet continues.
Hey pork producers! The 2026 Ohio Pork Congress is almost here. It all happens in Lima, Ohio on February 3rd and 4th at the Veterans Memorial Convention Center. You'll get the latest on swine health, facility management, economics, product innovation, and more. And don't forget about the expanded Spanish language breakout sessions. All this with over 60 trade show exhibitors to visit. So go to ohioporkcongress.org today to get more information and early registration discounts. We'll see you in Lima.
They didn't have skim milk for your coffee, so I just got formaldehyde.
Ugh, isn't that stuff in floor cleaner?
Pizza's here. Would you like cheese on that? Or how about a Crowley?
Oh no, that's in bug spray.
Hi there, would you like to sample our new scent? Diethylene glycol.
Isn't that the stuff in antifreeze?
You wouldn't want to eat it, drink it, or even smell it, but that's exactly what's in your vapes. If you vape, quit. If you don't vape, don't start. For help, go to odh.ohio.gov/no-vapes. A message from the Ohio Department of Health.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins. Let's get an update from the Modern Ag Alliance. With today's featured audio, here's Brianna Smith.
Joining me is Elizabeth Burns-Thompson. She's the Executive Director of the Modern Ag Alliance. Can you tell me a little bit more about what the Modern Ag Alliance is?
Absolutely. So we are kind of an association of associations. So we work very closely. Our partners are your state farm bureaus, state commodity groups, state ag retail organizations, as well as many of their national counterparts from all across the country. So a very diverse subset of groups, but laser focused on solving for consistency and clarity around pesticide labeling. So we've seen in especially the last 10 to 15 years, a lot of upheaval in terms of the regulatory oversight and legal interpretations of that. It's created some real challenges for pesticide manufacturers and really the entirety of the ag supply chain. There are real risks to the availability of the technologies that farmers depend upon right now, as well as, looking at what does this mean down the road of any new types of AIs or chemistries to come to market. So we are trying to proactively work on some consistency and clarity to help solve for those things.
Now, you mentioned earlier, we were having a conversation, you talked about some policy wins that you've had and some conversations at the federal level. Can you go into detail about some of that?
Yes, so I joined the Alliance about a year ago. Actually, the Farm Bureau meeting in 25 was one of my very first outreaches in this role. But in 2025, we worked in about 12 states, prospectively on state-level legislation. We were successful in North Dakota, or our partners in North Dakota as well as Georgia, on getting really a first-of-its-kind legislative solution. So real kudos to those initiatives. Those were signed into law earlier this year. We're going to pick that back up and keep working in a handful of states here throughout 2026. As you mentioned, that it's important that this type of legislative clarity or solutions are not just a state-by-state patchwork, so we would really like to get to a nationwide solution. And so we also spend quite a bit of time out in Washington, D.C. talking about uniformity in labeling around pesticides. And that's something that I hope folks could commit to memory to, because we work very much lobbying in support of the Ag Labeling Uniformity Act. We are optimistic that or hopeful that language is part of what the next farm bill could look like. We've heard repeatedly from leadership, especially Chairman G.T. Thompson, that this was one of his top priorities when we got to that point of the next farm bill text. So we're optimistic that when that text is released, that we'll see the pesticide labeling piece part of that solution.
MAHA has been a huge conversation this year. How has the Modern Ag Alliance worked within that framework, or how are you going to bat for farmers within that MAHA initiative?
Yes, and we've seen an incredible growth of MAHA related, be that formal task force that states have looked at, or just kind of organic MAHA related kind of conversations. A lot of those are bringing in dialogue about crop protection tools or pesticides. There's no shortage of controversy as well as a lot of misinformation, unfortunately, too. I've been working in this business on ag policy for about 15 years, and I remember when we started in this space, we were talking about how important it was for farmers to come and tell their story. And I hate to beat a drum, but we need it as much today as we did then. I talk a lot about how it's important that we are talking not only what we do and how we do it, but why. Because these become very emotional conversations on the other side. There's a lot of fear that's introduced into it, and so it is really, really important that we're coming forward with an ear to listen, but also an important, talking about how we farm today and why these tools are so incredibly important and safe.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate your time today. Again, that was Elizabeth Burns Thompson with Modern Ag Alliance, reporting for Ohio's Country Journal and Ohio AgNet. I'm Brianna Smith.
Brianna, thank you. Markets and analysis coming up next as the Ohio AgNet continues.
It's time for the Morton Buildings Building Value Days sales event running now through the end of February. Morton buildings are built stronger, last longer, and look better. So if you're planning for a garage, farm shop, stall barn, a storage building for your RV, boat, or collectibles, or anything in between, act now. Our buildings are built to last, but these savings won't. Visit MortonBuildings.com or contact your local Morton office to take advantage of current savings on new buildings. Certain restrictions may apply. Offer valid only on select new building orders placed between January 5th and February 28th, 2026.
Attention construction pros. Purple Wave Auction brings quality equipment to your fingertips. Join our bi-weekly online auctions featuring dozers, excavators, loaders, and more. We provide detailed listings, photos, and seller contact info. Inspect online or in person. With our no reserve policy, every item sells to the highest bidder. Visit purplewave.com today and see why informed builders choose Purple Wave. Transparent processes, real deals, your next great purchase awaits. purplewave.com.
Welcome back to the Ohio AgNet. I'm Ty Higgins. Each weekday morning, we provide a free and easy way to stay in the know with our e-newsletter, Digital Daily, delivered straight to your inbox at 6 a.m. and includes overnight markets, top ag news headlines in a quick, easy-to-read format, an audio link to the Ohio AgNet Farm Show, thoughts and insights from me and fellow farm broadcasters, weather updates, and more. Get signed up for the Ohio AgNet Digital Daily online now at ohioagnet.com. You'll find the tab at the top of the page. Today's market analysis brought to you by the Louis Dreyfus Company, excited to be building the newest state-of-the-art soybean crush facility in Upper Sandusky. Call 574-566-2113 for information on soybean marketing to LDC. Here's Ryan Martin.
Grain markets finished mixed on Thursday, so now we go into the end of the week trying to figure out what happens to put the exclamation point on it. We started the week with a USDA report that really made the markets bleed for 2 days, stabilizing Wednesday, and yesterday soybeans gained 8 to 10 cents overall. I can't say that I believe the numbers very much here, but it was a positive close. It was spread by soybean oil, triple-digit gains there. Looks like some new action in the RVO space and getting folks excited about oil. Again, as with everything, how long does that stay? And weekly export sales report numbers were okay. Where we did not see much excitement yesterday, corn down another 1 to 2. But remember, the corn report on Monday was awful. Wheat also not gaining any traction here. Chicago, Kansas City markets trading lower as well. The cereal grains are going to come under pressure just due to that corn number overall. 8 to 10 cents may be lucky on a move over the next few weeks. I'm Ryan Martin.
Ryan, thank you. Markets on the Ohio AgNet brought to you by Seed Consultants. Simply better performance online at seedconsultants.com. Corn for the front month March up a penny overnight at $4.21 1/4. May $4.28 1/2 3/4 cents to the plus side. Soybeans for March up 2 3/4 at $10.55 3/4. May 3 cents better at $10.67 1/4. Wheat for July at $5.34 1/2. That's a penny to the plus side. September up 3/4 at $5.48 3/4. Live cattle for February 90 cents higher after yesterday's close at $236.05. April 238.42, up $1 and a dime. March feeder cattle picking up 485 Thursday, closing at 364.55. April 362.92, up 475, and Feb lean hogs 87.80, up 210. The April up 230 at $95 even. For the Ohio AgNet, I'm Ty Higgins. We'll see you down the road.